If you think a blue door can't change your life, wait until you hear what happened to mine. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning, folded with cruel precision and stamped with the red logo of our neighborhood HOA. I remember standing barefoot on the cold tile floor of my small townhouse in Ontario, my 3-year-old daughter Lily tugging at my pajama sleeve, asking for cereal. I thought it was just another reminder about lawn height or garbage bins. Instead, it was a $5,000 fine for unauthorized exterior modification. My crime: painting my front door blue. Not neon, not flashing, just a soft, coastal blue that reminded me of the Atlantic I grew up beside in Nova Scotia. After my divorce, when I moved here to start over, that door was the only thing that felt like mine. The house itself was beige. The street was beige. My life, if I'm honest, felt beige too. The blue door was my way of saying, I'm still here. I still exist. I went straight to the HOA president's house that afternoon. Her name was Carol Henderson. Perfect lawn, perfect smile, perfectly pressed blazer, even at 3 p.m. She opened the door like she'd been expecting me. You received the notice? She asked calmly. It's just paint, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. It's a door. $5,000 is more than my monthly salary. The community guidelines are clear, she replied. All exterior colors must be pre-approved. Uniformity protects property values. Property values. That phrase echoed in my head all night. Not families. Not people. Not the single mom working double shifts at the hospital cafeteria. Just property values. I didn't have $5,000. I was already behind on daycare fees. My ex was inconsistent with child support. That fine felt less like a penalty and more like a threat. Like someone was reminding me I didn't belong here. I cried that night after Lily fell asleep. I sat by the blue door, running my fingers over the brush strokes I had carefully painted while she napped weeks ago. It wasn't rebellious. It wasn't loud. It was hope, and someone wanted to find me for it. But the next morning, something inside me shifted. I've spent too much of my life shrinking to make others comfortable. I wasn't going to repaint that door beige just because Carol liked her street to look like a corporate brochure. Instead of repainting it, I started reading. I went through the HOA bylaws line by line after Lily went to bed. I made tea, opened my laptop, and highlighted everything that felt off. Buried in the documents was a clause about reasonable accommodation for personal expression, and another about consistent enforcement across all properties. So I walked around the neighborhood. I took pictures. The Smiths down the street had a bright red mailbox. The Chens had flower pots in colors that weren't on the approved list. One house had changed their exterior light fixtures entirely. No fines posted on their doors. No warning letters. The more I looked, the clearer it became. Rules weren't being enforced equally. They were being enforced selectively. I requested the official records of violations from the past 2 years. In Canada, homeowners have the right to access certain HOA documents. It took persistence. Emails ignored, calls returned, with vague answers. But I didn't stop. When the documents finally arrived, I felt my hands shake. Out of 47 violations issued that year, 39 were to single homeowners. Most of them women, many of them new to the community. Almost none were issued to long-standing board members or their close friends. Including Carol's sister, whose front garden was a wild explosion of unapproved landscaping. It wasn't about the blue door. It was about power. I didn't scream. I didn't vandalize anything. I didn't key her car like the angry version of me wanted to. Instead, I printed everything. I spoke to a lawyer who offered a free consultation. I connected with 3 other neighbors who had quietly paid fines because they were afraid of making trouble. We shared stories over coffee at Tim Hortons, our kids playing in the corner. Turns out, I wasn't alone. We organized a community meeting. Not dramatic, not loud, just informed. We handed out copies of the violation statistics. We explained selective enforcement. We talked about transparency, fairness, and basic decency. Carol showed up halfway through, her expression tight. This is an attack, she said. You're trying to damage the community. No, I replied, my voice surprisingly calm. We're trying to protect it. Communities aren't built on fear. People started asking questions. Real ones. Why weren't meeting minutes publicly shared? Why were fines so high compared to similar neighborhoods? Why were board elections uncontested for years? Something shifted in that room. Within 2 months, a formal review of the HOA board was initiated. The local housing authority became involved after we submitted our documentation. The $5,000 fine was suspended pending investigation. And then, something even more unexpected happened. Carol resigned. There was no dramatic apology. No cinematic confrontation. Just a short email citing personal reasons. At the next election, 3 new board members were voted in. One of them was me. The first motion we passed wasn't to abolish all rules. It was to revise them. Clear color guidelines with actual approved palettes. Reasonable fines scaled to income brackets. Mandatory transparency reports. Open elections. And yes, we officially added blue to the approved door colors. The day the new guidelines were published, I stood outside with Lily, who was now 4, holding my hand. "Mommy, why is our door blue?" she asked. "Because we like it," I said. But the truth was bigger than that. That door became a reminder that standing up for yourself doesn't mean destroying someone else. It means shining a light where things are hidden. It means refusing to be bullied into silence. It means understanding your rights and using them with courage. I didn't ruin Carol's life. I ruined her control, and in the process, I found my voice. If you ever feel small because someone in authority tells you that you are, remember this: rules are meant to protect communities, not intimidate them. Fairness matters. Transparency matters. And sometimes, the smallest act of self-expression, a coat of blue paint, can open a door to something much bigger. Because in the end, it was never about the door. It was about dignity.